this is a true story. So I go over there. First match I shot at the NBSRA at that time over there, and I shoot that match, and I broke the world record. So,
What?
yeah,
What? All right, Tate. You ready?
yeah, whatever we're
You
gonna do.
ready? Are you sure? I'm gonna hit you with some tough
I got
questions.
nothing. I got nothing to hide, man. I'm lucky to be here.
All right. Well, Larry Tate, thank you for being here. This is gonna be on my channel. There's so many people, as you know, that are trying to get into the sport. They don't know where to start. They don't know what to expect. And of course, you've been there, done that. Uh, so you and I became good friends because of the sport. And man, we've been friends for a long time now. Very long time. I don't even know
Yeah.
how long. But anyway, so Larry Tate, Huntington Beach, California. Tell us how'd you get into the sport? Like what brought you into the sport?
I always had interest in firearms. When I was about seventh, eighth grade, my brother would take us out and we'd go shoot shotguns. And I always had the itch to go shoot. And then as time went on, I got married and did all that stuff. And then I got tired of being happy and I got divorced, and then, yeah, you know how that goes. So I said, I'm out of here. So I divorced her. And then, yeah. And so then I went through the whole thing of raising my kids the best I could and all that. And then after I got to a certain point, I said, I'm going to start shooting, So I went out and bought a Ruger M77 with a Leupold scope and a Harris bipod, and I got a 243, and it was a target model.
Mm-hmm.
And so I got on the internet. I always wanted to shoot 1,000 yards, and it turned out that the twist rate on that Ruger target model could do 1,000 yards for a 243. So I got on the internet, and I'm a firm believer in that you are what the company you keep. And I wanted to learn how to shoot 1,000 yards. So I got on the internet, and I just Googled like world record holder, and I found Skip Talbot. So I found his phone number. It was on the internet. So I called him, and I called up Skip and said, hey, my name's Larry Tate. I go, you don't know who I am. But I said, I want to learn how to shoot 1,000 yards. And so, how can you not get good advice from a guy like that, right? So his first response to me was, how'd you get my number? I said, I found it on the internet. And he said, well, I got to get that off of there. But he said, I said, what do I got to do? I said, just tell me whatever I got to do. He said, well, first thing you need to do, this was, he goes, go to the California State Mid-Range. It was October 3rd, 2003 was the very first match. So I drove to Coalinga. I had my Ruger, bipod, and I was shooting Hornady bullets at that time. And I got on the ground and the 600 yard. And I shot in conditions that I did some shots I probably never do after learning what I've learned now, but they were just pure luck, at that point. I shot a clean, like a 207 or 208, but during that string, and my first shot was boom on it. Wow. And I turned it, my first shot was like a 10RX cold bore, right? And I look back at the guy, cause I don't know, I'm just shooting, right? I'm just doing what Skip told me to do. And so I shoot it, hit a 10 or X, whatever it was. I turned and I said, going for a record. And the guy looked at me and said, are you sure? And I go,
after one shot?
Yeah, my cold bore shot. He said, are you sure? And I said, yeah, going for a record. He said, okay. Well, I cleaned it,
Wow.
And during that string, and this was with a Harris bipod.
Wow.
I'm shooting it in, there was a left to right wind, and I remember it switched and did a hard switch and was going right to left. And I went, well, I just happened to catch the flags, right? And I said, you know what? I'm going to have to just hold over about the same side. I was doping left. Yeah. So I said, dope to right, but it's about right. Pulled it, and it hit like a X or 10. I don't want to fabricate the story, but I hit it. It was whatever it was, a 10 or X. And that guy, he goes, that was an amazing shot. Because he said, I thought you were going to blow it off the target. And then after the match, he said, how'd you do that? And I go, I don't know. I just saw it blowing on that side. I go, look about the same on this side. So I held over kind of in that area and pulled the trigger. I got no magic for it, and he was like, what the? And then the second string, right? The second string goes up. I swear, bingo, I'm on it. I go for record. I shot 10 more. And then I finally dropped the 11th point. Mm-hmm. And I just turned to the guy and said, hey, man, I got to miss at some point. You can't do this forever, I had no idea, And I remember when I turned the card in, and Jim O'Connell was running the line. You know who Jim is. Anyways, Jim O'Connell was there, and he handed the card. He got the card, and I was staring down there, and I saw his head kind of turn, and he looked like, because I'm sure I shot the only clean, right? Uh-huh. And he just kind of looked down the line like, what the hell? But I didn't know it was, and I ended up shooting a 577 by, the dream was over that first 30 shots, but but it was hilarious. And then
can you imagine if you had just shot the first string and you said, it's not for me, it's way too easy, and then just walked off and never looked back, and then just your entire life just went on saying, oh, F class, that's way too easy. I tried it.
No, but I mean, I did with a bipod.
But imagine he has said, nah, this is way too easy.
No, here I was shooting with, I think my come up was like 13. No, I forget what it was. I forget, but it was, I never forgot. October 3rd, 2003 is my very first match. So then I go to Sacramento to shoot the long 1,000-yard range, right? 1,000-yard match. And Skip's there. Skip pulls up. So I see Skip and said, hey, I walked over to him and said, hey, Skip, I introduced myself to him. And nice to meet you, nice guy, and blah, 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 blah. And I said, do me a favor. When you see me shoot, if you see me do any little thing, I don't care what it is, I want you to just get all over me, man, just hammer me. Because, I don't got an ego. I want to learn how to shoot this thing. And he said, sure, I'll do it. So I shot my match, and my goal was just to shoot 1 point, shoot as good or better than I shot at 600. Because I kind of believe that rather than chasing, this is something you tell the new guys, rather than chasing, when you go down, especially now, and you shoot and you see all this competition, if you go up there and look at that board, you're going to get shocked, because you're going to see scores up there that are going to say, I'll never get to that. You're going to see a lot of cleans, and if the wind's down, it's going to be a ton of them, And if you see like one clean and a bunch of other ones, then the guy that shot the clean had his act going on, right? So don't try to chase everyone's score. This is what my goal was. My thing was just improve every time I shot, and I knew that over a period of time, I would eventually get in the mix. Because it doesn't do any good to worry about the guy to your left or the guy to your right, or what he's shooting or she's shooting. Has no bearing on what you've got going on in front of you. So it's between you, the target, and the wind, and your shooting mechanics and your reloading and all that stuff. It's a personal issue between you and that target and Mother Nature. So stay focused on just improving yourself, and let your progression fall where it falls on that chart, because as you get better, you will eventually get in the top 25 if you're fortunate enough, and next thing you know, you're in the top 10, and you go, hey, and you know how it is, you catch the right relay, you can get some separation. And if you're down in the pits and the winds are blowing, you're going, well, those guys are struggling out there, and you may have just came off the line and it was dead, and you was, wow, I got some cushion here, and then you start worrying about, I hope it doesn't happen to me. But we all know how that goes.
Yeah.
Sooner or later, that's what's great about this sport. You can't pick your wind. You just get down there and you got to shoot, and whatever you get, that's your going. At any rate, Skip sees I shoot, and I'm getting ready to walk off the line to go get in my truck. I'm getting ready to go home, right? And Skip walks over and grabs me by my arm. I'm carrying my gun. I'm going to my truck, and he says, "Hey, you come with me." And I said, oh, okay. So I walk with Skip, and this is after the match. I'm getting ready to depart. And we go to the trailer, and in the trailer is Jim O'Connell, Jerry Turney, obviously Skip, he brought me in there, and then Jeff Wise. Skip says to me, he goes, it's not too often you get to recruit an F-class shooter. He was on the U.S. team at the time, right? And so he says, it's not too often you get to recruit an F-class shooter. He says, you can shoot. And he said, but the first thing I want you to do is you got to sell that rifle. you know. And this is the, you know, and I'm looking at him like, are you, you know, to
Your
myself,
pride procession.
what the hell are you talking about? You know, I bought this rifle on sale for like 500 and some odd dollars. You know, it was like, you know, I bought it at B&B. It was a, you know, cheap rifle, but it's shot. And I said, I'm not selling it. You know, that ain't going to happen. He goes, well, where you're going, you're not going to stand a chance for that thing, you know? So he said, he goes, I'll build you one, or Jeff Wise would build it. And Jeff goes, I'll build it. And I said, that's fine. I'll build one. But you tell me what I got to do. Cause I didn't have a clue what he's talking about. Right. I had no idea what this F-class thing was going to be like. And he said, well, he started ripping off bats and, you know, barrels, and call this guy. He had a list of everybody. And I was just taking notes. You know, and so I'd call up Krieger, I'd call up Bat, and oh yeah, I don't skip, blah blah blah. You know, dual triggers, all that stuff. I just ordered everything, and Jeff said, just send it to me. Well, I sent it to Jeff. So Jeff Wise got it, and he built the rifle for me. And by the time he got that rifle built, I was so excited. You know how it is when you get an F-class rifle and it's brand new and it's nothing that you ever, you know, I got this, you know, Ruger Mauser action, right? And all of a sudden I'm getting a bat. I've never even touched a bat before, right? So I had no idea until I got it. But at any rate, you know, I'm really excited. But the Nationals is coming up in 2004, and during that time that was in Butner. So Jeff Wise calls me and says, I'm not going to have your gun completed by then. So the best thing I can do for you is, you know, you can just get it when you come back. So I was just eager to compete and, you know, go out there and start learning how to do this thing. And I figured, you know, I want to shoot the big matches because the sooner you put the pressure on yourself, you can get that monkey off your back, you know. And so I said, I'm going. So I loaded up my Ruger 243 with that, you know, Leupold scope, and 6.5 by 25 or something like that. And I put that bad boy on there and I flew it. And I got it. I remember Bob Crone. He was the vice captain of the U.S. team, right? So I'm standing in line, and I handed my rifle, and Bob says to me, "You can shoot." He goes, "You can shoot 2 of those if you want," because it weighed like 985 or something like that, 10 pounds, you know. And I just was like, well, whatever, you know. This is all I got, you know. So I load that thing up and I get on there, and it, you know, and that's when I met. I actually got teamed up with Cochran, Trailer, and his other buddy. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. Nice guy. He was there, and then he had a teammate that he shot with him. He named his rifle Mojo. He actually won the 600 yard. I can't think of Jameson or something like that. He won the 600 yard nationals that year. Yeah, but that's what I actually shot with Cochran. That's how I met Jeff Trailer and Cochran, and I had that Ruger, you know. That gun shot really well. I mean, for what it was competing against, I mean, I actually beat some guys with it. That was shocking for me, but I beat him at the 600. It wasn't like I was stomping him at 1,000, you know. that wasn't going to happen. But it still was a learning experience. And England was there, you know, and I was looking around and I thought, this is kind of like a little world championship thing for me. Because, you know, I had seen all these flags flying and stuff because a lot of those other countries show up, you know. And so I said, this is great, a good experience for me. And by the time I got home, Jeff had finished my competition rifle. Well, I wanted it in a 243 because I wanted to shoot in a 243 caliber. And so he built it in a great gunsmith and a great guy, and he was very helpful for me. As a matter of fact, if it wasn't for Jeff, I would have never got where I got because I just listened to him, you know. And so he sends me this rifle, and I get it. And you know how it is when you get that first custom built rifle, man. It's like everything else can take the back seat. I put that thing on my kitchen, on my island, and I pulled that bolt open, and it was like glass. I've never seen anything like it in my life. I said, this is unbelievable. You know, this thing was just, oh man. I said, I can't wait to shoot this thing. So I remember Skip had told me, if you want to work on reading the wind, you know, because when you shoot F, he was telling, this is what I met him in Sacramento. He says, when you shoot F, you know, they're always marking your targets, pulling it and telling you, so you can always get a constant read on the wind. You know, he's telling me, shoot, take a look at the wind, you know, get a spotting scope and see what you shot in. you know. So and then I'd open up my action and let it cool and get it ready for the next round, put it in there, but I wouldn't ever engage it. I kind of had a sequence that I went through that made sense to me, and so.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, I started doing what Skip said. He said, if you really want to see where you're at, try shooting a bench rest match because they just put that target up after you get centered up. They pull it down and then they put it up and
Mm-hmm.
then you just shoot.
Mm-hmm.
10-shot match, right? So I was at the 600-yard nationals. It was my first match shooting that, and he was to basically said, shoot for me, shoot for score because don't try to, hey, if you've seen them where they just shoot them as fast as they can. Well, you don't learn anything when you just center it up and you just hope the wind holds and you just
Right.
faster than a 10-22, done. Oh, I'm good. Well, the wind kicks up, you shot a hole really nice, but it's over in the 7 ring. He's saying read the wind and use it for practice. And so that's what I did. I went over there and tried to practice taking wind, making a wind call and make a shot. I didn't care about my groups. And if I happened to get a good group out of it, then hey, good for me. I did a good job reading wind.
Right.
This is a true story. So I go over there. First match I shot at the MBSRA at that time over there, and I shoot that match, and I broke the world record. So,
What? What?
yeah, yeah,
Wait.
yeah, yeah.
What?
Yeah, it was 60 shot. It was 60 shot, and I just did what Skip told me to do, and I came out of that thing with. And so when I got home, I just sent a message to my gunsmith and said, "Hey, just want to let you know, thank you very much for the ride," because he didn't know anything. I just got it right to go shoot that match. Yeah. So I go over there and shoot that match. And it was 2004, I guess. And I said, "Hey, Jeff, thank you very much. Appreciate all your help. Blah blah blah. By the way, you just set a new world record." He's like, "What?"
Like me? What?
Well, yeah. Well, here's this knucklehead from Huntington Beach, California. He shouldn't even have a rifle, right? And yeah, but at any rate, those guys at Sac Valley were all great. That group over there, really classy guys. They're a lot of fun, and they were always helpful to me. And Connell.
Wait. All right, I'm gonna have to stop you real quick. How did you develop a load for this thing? Did you know how to?
Well, Jeff Y, he was telling me.
Okay.
I did load testing. Yeah, I did everything he told me to. That's what I'm trying to say. It wasn't for Jeff, I'd still be, plucking at steel plates. I used to shoot before I got into competition. I got my Ruger. I'd go out to this range out in San Fernando Valley, and they'd have all these metal silhouettes, all from like 200 out, and then it went out to 700 yards. Well, I could shoot. I'd load up all my stuff, and I would shoot it, and I could hit that deer. They had a deer out there at 700. I could hit that deer all day long in the head. So then I started aiming, trying to hit an antler, because I said, I'm trying. And then after I get tired, you know how it is, you get these big objects and you shoot a big steel plate, you go, I can put my gun and shoot it. This is all the bipod. And I hit it and go, so what? I need a score. Right, that's what I wanted. I wanted a score so I could challenge myself. Again, I just tried to improve myself. I didn't worry about everyone else, right? So that was my whole goal. And so anyways, that's how that kind of fanned out. And then I went to competition. That's why I tracked down Skip. And then Skip got me going. So Jeff Wise, work on a load. You got to work up a load and blah, 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 blah. And so I did all that. And, about loading, turning necks, all that stuff. I mean, he just guided me. And I just took it and ran. And, I'm kind of an analytical grain counter, I don't like excuses. I don't know. If you have to have an excuse, then don't go to the match. In my opinion, I don't like excuses. I like it to all be on me. And I can tell you one thing, Eric, if you go to any of the matches I don't shoot anymore because of my health issues, but if you were to look at any of my matches and your name's above me, you beat me. Because I never went to a match where I wasn't prepared. I did everything I could possibly do. It was all on me. And so it wasn't the gun. It was either the way I handled it or I made a bad wind call because all my guns shot flat. And I've had multiple barrels. I had like 20 barrels. I had a bunch of them done because I was going to do this all the way through retirement, right? So I would just get barrels and have Jeff, do like 3-4 of them at a time and send it back and I'd get more, and I'd do it. So I would just change them out. I learned that from, I'm kind of jumping ahead here, but I learned that from a brewer. I saw Brewer in a match once, and I got so many stories I could tell you. We could go for a long time and
That's
some funny
okay.
stuff.
That's okay.
Oh my God, I could tell you some funny stuff. But
So you set the world record in bench rest for score, correct?
60 shot, yeah.
60
And then the
shot. Okay.
following, I had the yeah. Go ahead. You have a
No,
question?
no,
Go ahead.
and,
I can go on.
and they don't. No, no. I'm just trying to kind of get back on the timeline. So, what happens
Oh,
after that?
then I went back and shot another. I shot another one in 2005, and oh, so close. So close. I was so close. I won that. I won the actually a target's hanging up in my room. It was a 10 shot. It wasn't the 60 shot ag was the one I set the world record on, but I won the nationals with the 10 shot for that, the 10 shot target, right? And I was about 3/8 of an inch high from getting I shot a 99.6 or something like that, right? And those are all cold, right? Those are just up in the air, right? And I'm trying to make wind calls. And I remember the guy came up to me from the target and he goes, Tate, I thought you were going to do it, man. I said, what? He said, your last shot went just out of the 10 ring. And, and I vividly remember this. This is no lie. I remember putting how sometimes you get like a vertical or one will drop. And I said, you know what? Stuff like this happens. I'm going to take a chance. You know what I mean? So I aimed a little bit. I aimed high on just above the top. Yeah. I aimed just above the X ring, and it pushed it right out the top of the 10 ring by about 3/8 of an inch, if that. I got the target in my room. And I look at that target and I go, if I would have held center, but if I'd aimed low, on the other hand, if I was rolling the dice, right? If I'd aimed low, I'd have probably put it right on above the X. So either way, I'm not going to get greedy, no excuses. That's what I did, but I learned from that. It's probably best rather than guess is I should have just looking back, I should have trusted everything I had, held my original point of aim that I was holding, and I should have just shot it and didn't compensate for it and let my reloading do its thing and let me miss the condition. Don't try to outguess it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So
I think that was my mistake for sure. But at any rate, it was a good experience. That's what I used out of bench rest. And then from there, I just transferred over to F Open, because that's what I was really trying to go after. And I was using the bench stuff to practice because I wanted to see how good I could read the wind. And then the U.S. team fell into place and all that stuff. So that got just how that is when you're doing that's just a lifetime commitment to that. What it takes to get involved in that. But I never had excuses for any matches. I don't like excuses. I don't. You know how I reload. You know how I do all that stuff. So I did the big test like you saw the primer test and all that stuff. I did all that prior before we went to England in 2009. And then I shared it with everybody. I wasn't one of those guys that tried to play I Got a Secret. That's not good,
So
you should be trying to.
Well, you know me. I'm the same way.
That's a good thing. You should be able to try to help people.
So between 2005, 2009, shooting some F class matches. Is that what you're doing? Like
yeah, I was shooting F Open. I'm trying to remember all the matches I shot. I traveled, but also I remember I went to Iowa with that Ruger because now I had a light gun, right? Because I had the heavy gun now that I had that Ruger. So that was my light gun. So I said, hey, you know what? I'm going to take my new gun. And I went to an IBS match up in Pella, Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
They were shooting over cornfields. So I flew both them things. Here I am with this Ruger. And that thing had a trigger pull on it. It was like, I don't know. It was up there, So, but at any rate, I get over there at Pella, and that's where I bump into. I didn't know it at the time. I could send you the video, but I was shooting videos and stuff, and I saw Shehane there, and I watched Bill. I watched him shoot, and it was a blur, and I get it. That's what they do, but that's not what I really wanted to do. I wanted to But I was there to shoot the bench like they did, but I tried to still do it the way that I, try to read the wind and all that the best I could to learn. But Don Nagel, I had the video running, and Don Nagel walks. I didn't know Don at the time, but Don goes walking by, and I'm just, So when I digging through this stuff later on, after I get to know him, I said, "Hey, I think I got a video of you." So I sent it to Don and him and I in Pella, Iowa. That was great. But at any rate, it was great. And I got killed over there. I got just hammered. Those guys in IBS, those guys are just,
next level.
They set the rifle down and then it goes, and then
it's over.
That's it. And you go, what happened? You go, that was my 10 shots. The barrel doesn't even have time to get hot. It's just over.
That's funny because it almost makes sense. It almost makes sense.
Well, it's the truth. But I didn't load like that. So when I was loading, guys are, they're passing out. Is this guy going to shoot that thing, or what are you doing to that thing?
Oh man,
that bullet's going to get stuck in there.
So at what point do you just go full time into F class?
Well, I think I was fully committed to F class when I started. When I walked off that line at 600, I was just doing what Skip was telling me about shooting the bench. So, when I went and broke the world record, I'm thinking, well, hell, that was pretty good. I'm going to try to go back and try it again. And I almost got another one. But again, this the Sac Valley guys are great. And Pete White and Gary Childs and Ed Eckhoff, there's a bunch of them that were just all real helpful to me. So, but I was always an F class guy, But what's so funny about the whole thing was I initially wanted to do FTR, not knowing it was FTR. I wanted to shoot off a bipod. But the only reason I went to F Open was because Skip, because he said, this is where you're going to go. And I'm just looking at him because he's a world record holder. And this guy's, I believe he's not, on a 50 caliber bench, bench rest. He's member number 1, I believe.
Wow.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. So I'm just this guy, when he says something, I'm listening, And so I was just doing what he said. And he said, get a red, have to do all this stuff. So that's how I got into F Open. I initially was going to do a bipod, but I ended up going with the front rest hernia bit, carrying all that extra weight around, but that's okay. It worked out.
So then you have to try out for the U.S. team, right? You don't just say, hey, I'm on the U.S. team. You had to try out. How did that go?
Well, how that all happened was when I was shot in Butner, when I had that, Crone made that comment to me, hey, blah, 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 blah. You can shoot 2 of these if you want. I didn't shoot all that great, but I knew when I walked off that line, I said, I can shoot this. I can shoot with these guys. I just need to get the gun. I need to get a good rifle to see where I'm at because I'm shooting this $500 rifle. And so when I got that bench rest, when I got my F Open gun, well, when I went and shot it and I won the nationals with it, I knew I could do this. Well, there was a memo that came out.
Wait, when you say you won the nationals, you talk about
I broke the record. I won the nationals for the 600.
Okay.
I mean, kind of went hand in hand, right? So what happens here? Oh, there's I'm watching the F Open stuff.
Wait. Let me. I hadn't even processed that. So your first time shooting bench rest.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't your first time, but the
Yeah,
first time shooting with that new rifle.
Yeah, it was first.
Won
No,
the
first time
national
shooting bench rest.
championship.
The first time I ever shot bench rest.
That's right.
The first time I ever shot bench rest was
you broke the world record and you won the nationals. Right,
I had
go
to
hand in
broke the world
hand.
record. Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, that was my first bench rest match.
That's crazy, Tate. Oh,
Well,
okay. Now,
So, anyways, I'm going on the internet because my gunsmith's telling me you can look on that 6BR thing and those are sites to look at, and these were all because I didn't know any of this stuff, right? And so I get on there and I'm looking around, and then the word comes out that you could try out for the U.S. team. Well, I got to go back. When I left North Carolina, I was telling my brother, you know what? I said, I'm going to try out for the U.S. team because I saw some of these, because Cochran and them were talking about the U.S. guys are here at the nationals, and Team Berger and all that, all those big dogs, and actually Larry and Brewer won it that year, 2004. He was a national champion. And then let's see, who else was there? I'm trying to think. JJ. I think JJ came in. Yeah, he was there. And so I said, you know what? I told my brother, I said, I'm going to try out for the U.S. team. My brother goes, what? I'm standing here with this Ruger, I said, I can shoot with these guys. I just need to go apples to apples. So and I said, I'm getting mine built, so once I get it, I'm gonna do it. So then I started looking for it, and then Bob Block, they were having the tryouts, so he had a thing where you had to sign this waiver thing, and you're going to try out for the team and all this stuff and be committed and all that. And I remember I got the form and I signed it all out and said, I'm going to do it. I'll go to all the tryouts. And to be honest with you, what a great memory. That whole trip. I think I signed up in 2006. And from 2006 to 2009, we did all the tryout stuff. And there's some funny stories in that too. I met some fun people. I mean, that's where I met Mike Downey and then all those guys, but anyway, so to 2006, I just sent the form in and said, I'm gonna try out for this team, and Bob said, well, we want you to shoot a 6.5, 284 is what we want you to shoot. And at that time, I was using Sierra bullets, Match Kings. And he said, we're being sponsored by Berger. And we said, would you shoot Berger? I said, I'll shoot whatever you want me to shoot. I'm not, I'll make it shoot. So next thing you know, I told the gunsmith, I need 6.5, 284, blah, 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 blah. And do you want a tight neck? Yeah, I want a tight neck, all this kind of stuff. I think it was 292. And I put down 3,000 neck tensions, what I dialed in. So I loaded rounds 289, I guess. And then I was real nitpicky on all that stuff because I knew that all my prep work was so important to maintaining good vertical. And and I know I'm shooting against these U.S. guys, and I see all these, how it is. You see Brewer and Bach and Bartholomew and Murphy and all these big name guys, and you admire all of them, right? Because the guys are all they're killing everybody, right? Yeah. So and I admire. I think it's great, So I would like turn my necks, and this is no lie. When I turned the neck on it, it took me 4 minutes. I timed everything, so I had an idea how long it took me to do a full round. Because between bullet sorting and all the stuff, flash holes, primer pockets, neck turning, and all that stuff, I'd spend 4 minutes on each neck. It sounds crazy, but I didn't run it through quick. I had that Sinclair wall thickness. And I'd measure all four, every single one of them. I'd measure all four all the way around. And if I found anything that was off, I put it back in. I just didn't care because I said, I only have to do it once. Right. So to me, I'd rather do the labor. And then I'm going out with shooting against these guys. And so long story short was, being real methodical, got it all to work. And then the other part about that U.S. team tryout, so much fun because everywhere you went, no matter when you got on the line, you know how this goes, no matter where you look, left or right, there's quality shooters everywhere. You just go, This is just so exciting. You don't have to go look for talent and competition. It's right there. You don't have to worry about them. You hope they show up. They're there, man. Yeah. It's awesome. I enjoyed the trip, the whole experience. And so we get out to this was so funny because this is how we got the whole team thing going. We're shooting over at Lodi, and I got California knucklehead, right? So I show up over there, hey, what's going on? And I don't know anybody, and I get on. When we shoot the match, long story short on this part was, I won the Palma match, right? Okay. And I shot like 63 X's. You can look it up on that. You'll see it out there. I think it was 68, 63, whatever X's. I had a really good X count. And I won one of the Palma matches. And Morris tells me later, he said, Tate, well, we did the tryout. Then after that, we go to the tryout, right? Well, I get on the ground. He got all of us together, and the guys that are going to try out for the team, first tryout, Lodi, Wisconsin, and we're at the 1,000-yard line, and Mid says to the group, okay, who's going to go first? And I figured, hell, I'll go first because I'm, like who's going to got to step up. So I said, hell, I'll go first. I just want to see him. I'm not afraid to go first. So I get on the line. I put all my stuff down there, and boom, get everything ready to go. And he says, he looks down at me. He says, okay, Tate, I want you to shoot. He goes, hold center. I go, okay. I hold center, pull the trigger. True story. Target comes down. Target comes up. Miss. I look up at Mid. Mid looks down at me, and he goes, because this is a tryout. He looks at me. That's what he did. He was looking at me and went, because it's not his problem. Yeah.
It's true. You're trying out.
Yeah, it's all on me. And he just, he made that look like, what are you going to do? And I looked at him, I said, let me tell you something. I learned something about me. If I was going to crumble, that would have been the moment. You know what I mean? First shot, yeah. U.S. team in front of everybody. I'll go first.
You know what I mean?
I didn't even hit it. Nothing. And then Mid in front of everybody, God and everybody, Mid says, what are you could care less. I'm on the team. He's saying, I'm on the team, brother. You think I'm gonna put you on the line? So I looked up at him. I said, just give me a minute, Mid. And I just sat there for a minute and I thought. And you know what it was, Eric?
800.
I had
900.
I had my 900 line vertical on there, and I just sat for a while because we just came from the 9. I said, what the hell happened? And then it all of a sudden hit me. I said, I got it. Dialed up 4, and then the rest of it's history. Then I just went bam, and I said, it's over. And then we just didn't. It was over. Then I just shot well. But at that moment, I learned. When I walked off the line, I said, if I was ever going to crumble and just give the sport up and walk away, it'd have been there because I would have just been a mess. And but I didn't. I held it together, and then But Mid was hilarious because hey, I'm the coach, man. Yeah. So we're back. I had to laugh. Morris. I had a lot of fun with Morris. Morris was a lot of fun during that time. He was something else. But we became really good friends, and we chuckled and had a good time. And I'm in my hotel room. This is after we had tryouts, and I got a knock at the door, and Dean says, "Hey, Downey told me later. He said, hey, you better go get that Tate guy because he just shot like 63 X's. Someone's going to grab him. You better go get him. Because no one knew who I was. I was just a new guy on the block, right? So Dean comes over, knocking on my door, and says, "Hey, Tate, come on. We want to put our own team together." He says, "I talked to Bach, and we want to have our own, put a team together, blah 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 blah, and we want to be on it." So I go over to meet Mike. Mike, you know how Mike is, Mike's cool as cucumber, all that stuff, easygoing, good competitor, all that stuff. So I said, "Sure, I'll shoot with you guys." And then we're talking before we go to dinner, and I said, "This is gonna be a lot of fun." I said, "I hope we all make the team. That'd be great, And Morris looks at me and he goes, "What are you talking about, Ted?" He says, "You're gonna be on the team." He said, "You just got done beating everybody." He goes, "How can you not get on the team?" I said, "I don't know. Listen, this is just a tryout. It doesn't mean it's over yet. I mean, nothing's in the bag till it's over, right?
Right.
You still got to shoot the 20th shot, brother."
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, you're good at 15, but you still got 5 more to go before we're going to pull the plug on that.
Big difference between 15 and 20.
Yeah, I was thinking it was our first tryout. There was a long way to go. We weren't done yet.
Yeah.
So, and I knew that. But at any rate, it all worked out, and so we got on the team, and then all of us. We all made it, but a lot of fun. And I got some Mike Downey stories that just funny. Just oh God, what a character!
Mike Downey. Mike Downey is the one that took me under his wing when I started. Mike Downey was my mentor. I mean, he's great. Helped me tremendously.
let me tell you what a competitor. You know what was great about Mike? He is I call him a gamer. I can tell you right now, and I mean this. You could call him up and say, Mike, we're going to put you on the U.S. team, and I believe this. And you could say, and if he said, okay, I'll shoot, that guy's going to come prepared because he refuses to give up. He just will not give you nothing but 100%. And I watched him when we were in England. This was so funny. We get there, we're all excited, right? Well, all my equipment
this is the world championship, right?
This is the world championship. This is 2009. 2009, we packed up. I sent over 720 rounds to that. They want us to bring these little 20-pack things. We packed them up in those military cans. At any rate, we send all our stuff, get it to Burger, they ship it over there. We get all our packages, and they put us in these bunker bins. These guys in 2009 know it. But let me tell you something about Bisley. If you ever get a chance to go shoot Bisley, England, go. Don't miss that. Make that a bucket list competition. Shoot the Imperials, and if the Worlds are there, shoot the Worlds. It is, what an event, man. The weather's so unpredictable. I can go on about all this stuff, and it was just a memory I'll never forget. But we get over there. I don't get my all my stuff, so I can't compete in the first couple of days because I'm still waiting for them to ship over. They put my luggage, I think, sent it to Hawaii on its own vacation. It's over there laying out in the sun. I'm saying, hey, pal, I need some stuff over here, And then Mike's telling me, don't worry about it. Mike, don't worry, Tate, it'll be okay. He goes, they make good stories out of stuff like this. You don't get your gun and then you win, that kind of stuff. I said, hey, I don't want to make a story. I want to shoot. You got all your stuff. I'm walking around with a gun, but I don't have, certain parts of my equipment. I'm like, well, geez, So at any rate, we got this, they put us in this bunker bin, and it's like a rectangle shaped shoebox that's divided up into like 8 quarters, right? And there's 2 cots. They're elevated. You can stuff all your luggage underneath it. Walls are paper thin. I mean, you can hear people snoring. I mean, it was just craziness. And Mike says to me, it was so tight. He says, something, Tate? He goes, I couldn't believe I got all my stuff underneath the bed. And he got his, and we set our presses up and everything. I can't believe we did what we did. And Mike comes out of the bathroom, and he says to me, he says, something, Tate? He said, I've never been able to do this before, but I did it here. I said, I had 1 foot in the bathtub, 1 foot in front of the sink, and you could still go to the bathroom if I could flush the toilet. I thought, he's right, because you could do all of it right there. That's how tight it was. So I step out. This is going on a day or two long, but I step outside to get some fresh air, right? And this guy and his wife pulls up in his car, and the window's down on the passenger side. And she says, and Mike was just starting to walk to where I was standing outside that bunker. And the girl says, the lady says, she's an older woman. She says, excuse me. She says, are those loos? And Mike had just stepped out. He says, oh, no, we just live here. And no one said a word. I mean, I looked at him, and we didn't laugh, but she just looked at us like, you guys are, wow. And then he just drove away, and it was so funny. Oh my God. But here's one thing about Mike. I'm going to tell you about great roommate, and we had, he had shot the 300-yard match in the Imperials, right? Mm-hmm. And he cleaned it, right? And those Imperials, which I'm going to talk about something about those Imperials, because I watched some of your videos on that V match thing you did, which I think is a great idea, by the way. But at any rate, he comes back and he wins. He cleans it. He wins the gold medal. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people shooting these. There was 140th Imperial meeting match over there, 2009. You can look it up. And he cleans it. And I think they had him shoot like 5 extra shots in case there's a tie. So he buries all of them, right? So he wins the gold medal. So then Mike comes back. He goes and shoots another match because they're all spread out at different times throughout the day. He shoots another 300 match and wins that. So now he walks in the trailer, he's got 2 gold medals, 300. I'm thinking, God, Mike, and he's thinking, I'm on fire. This, they can't stop me, man.
Yeah.
stuff was rolling. The EMD show was going. I think he didn't like this too much, but they kind of called him Mad Dogs, what they nicknamed him out there in England. And so we were in cart number 1, so they called us Mad Dog.
Or MD, right? His initials.
Well, it started because MD. Yeah, they called him Mad Dog, and then we were in cart number 1, so they called us Mad Dog and Tater. And so they go, there, Mad Dog and Tater. So that was kind of a joke. So he goes out and he shoots a 1,000-yard match, and he comes back and he gets his gun he has a tuner on there. I think he got the tuner from you, by the way. You remember that big round one he had?
Well, it was,
yeah. Do you remember that?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was not the one you have now. You was all tricked out now, but it was a different one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. So he had that one on there. He walks into the room because we shot all the, we were shooting kind of the same times, but he comes in the room with his rifle and he throws his rifle down on the bed. And I go, "What's wrong with you, Mike?" He said, "My gun shot like, crap. He just didn't shoot well at all at 1,000." He said, I said, "What are you, nuts?" I said, you just won 2 gold medals. I said, you beat it wasn't like he shot against 100 people. I said, "Mike, this is the
world
champion, this is England's the Imperials." Yeah, well, it was prior to the Worlds. This is their Imperials. Yeah. This is a big thing, and I recommend doing it, man. If you go shoot the Imperials for sure. And he goes, "I gunshot like shit." And he goes, I said, "You just won 2 gold medals." He says, "So what? I'm the king of point blank." It's 300 yards. It's 300 yards, and he's calling it point blank. I said, "What, you crazy?" But that's how competitive he is. And so he went, to his credit, he was so mad. He went out and he said, "I got to go jog." He stripped down, put on running shorts, and he went for a run to run off his anger, I guess, his frustration. Yeah. And he came back and he said, "You know what? We're going to go." And he went back to they had a range over this 200-yard range, right adjacent to the 100-yard range, which is nuts. I think I sent you a video of that. It's open. The 100 guys are on your left side in front of you while you're shooting 200. And I'm not lying. I was like, I go, "Do you just see what's going on here, Mike?" I mean, the guys are off to your left, and you're shooting right beside them. Bullets are flying down. Yeah. But he went down there and he worked on I went down in the pits and well, first off, he shot and I just kept handing him bullets and seating for him. And then I went down to the pits and then I was pulling for him and he just worked on his tuner, I guess, and got it dialed in. And then he's just a real competitive guy. He just refuses to, which speaks volumes about him. But at any rate, he ended up shooting on the Rutland team and, we won the gold medal, me and I shot with him and
it was you, Gosnell.
David Gosnell.
Was it Morris?
Dean was a captain. I shot.
Trailer was there?
No, Trailer. No, it was on the Rutland team. It was David Gosnell, David Bailey, me, and Mike Downey. Here's another story. I can tell you an unbelievable story about that match. It never stopped.
By the tuner, Mark Farr made the tuner for him.
It was Mark Farr. Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, keep going.
I got to tell you this story about what happened. Mike was glad he could room with me because I had this. My neck would fit in his gun, so he could shoot my ammo. We talked about this on the phone before we even went to England. He said, "Hey man, if something goes wrong, we can even switch ammo. At least we'll be able to put something on paper, So I said, "Well, that makes sense to me. I'm good with it." So this is honest to God truth. I'm not lying. Strike me with lightning. The only time that I loaded extra ammo when I'd go shoot a match was this one day. I loaded up. I said, "I'll just," how you seat them before you shoot. So I seated a bunch of extra ones just so I had them. And I'm laying on the line, getting ready to shoot this match. And I get ready and I look over my shoulder and there's Mike standing there and says, "Hey, Tate." I said, "What?" He goes, "Could you believe this?" He goes, "I forgot my bullets." He goes, "I swear to you." He goes, "Do you have any extra ones?" I said, "Believe it or not, I do." In those matches, you shoot like 12 or 13 or you have oddball numbers. So I gave him whatever he needed because I had extra ones. And he went and shot my ammo. Didn't shoot as well in his gun, but at least he got something on paper. Mm-hmm. But that was one thing he did. But during the Rutland Cup, we're shooting in that match. And they stuck us at the high end. There's 50 there's 50 lines there. We're shooting like 47, 48, something like that. We're way up at the top, you know. And if you ever look at Bisley, it's got stair steps down. So the guys that are shooting at the high end numbers, you're up in the flags, man. And the guys down at the bottom end, they're down on the ground. So if you get those lower numbers, you're obviously better off, right? But I mean, the way to do it is go up to the top, take a wind reading, and then walk down to the bottom and go, hey, I can tell you what the flag velocity is. But at any rate, Mike shows up. We're shooting the one string out there, and Mike pulls up and says, hey, I forgot my ammo. He turns around, he hauls ass back to the, go get his ammo, and he shows back up. And
wait, is this the second time or is it the same time?
This is a different.
Different.
Oh no, the Rutland match was all towards the end.
But he forgot.
So he did it twice. He did it twice. He got everything packed up there and forgot to put, for whatever reason, how he forgot to not bring that, I'll never know. But he had to haul ass back to the trailer or to the, where we were staying and get his ammo and come back. But I got to tell you this story. To the credit of Michelle and Nancy, because Nancy was doing the wind calls and Michelle was sitting in the back right there working together. And the wind, and one thing about England, man, it rains. I learned this real quick. The sun will be out and then it'll start raining. So, we were there for like almost 2 weeks. I guess it was a 2-week period. So I learned that real quick after the first day or two. I just left my rain gear on because you could be shooting in the middle of the match and all of a sudden start raining. And you go, what the hell? And then everything's getting wet. So I just was prepared for it all the time. But it was raining and wind was blowing its tail off. And Nancy says, I'm shooting. And she says, Larry, I want you to hold up, hold. And I'm holding like 5.5 left, right? Left 5.5. We're way off.
Yeah, almost off the frame.
We're way out. And she says to me, this is swear to God truth. She says, just stop, right? We're going to take a break. We wait like, I don't know, 7 minutes, 8, whatever. It's a long time. You know how it is when you're on the line and you're just waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. You think, God, this is unbelievable. So, I'm waiting for a call that's going to be, left 1. You're waiting for a condition, right?
Right.
I think you're going to try to wait for it to die down so you can get back closer to that 10 ring, right? Somewhere in that area, give me, 2.5 or something. So I'm laying on the ground there and she says, okay, Larry, she says, this is Nancy. She says, okay, get ready, put a round in again. So I put one in there and I close it. She says, are you ready to shoot? I go, yeah. She says, give me a left 5.5. I go, what? So, I shot it and I am not lying. I pinwheeled that thing. And I remember I looked over at Nancy and I just said, where do you people come from? Because who does that stuff?
Nancy does.
Well, I'm just saying though, I'm shell shocked, man, because if I'd have been me in that chair, I'd have waited until, sun came up, the thing was down and it was 0. I said, whole center, put your no win 0 on there, brother. That would have been me. But,
so tell me your story about your shot. Was it your first shot that you shot at you get to Beasley, England, and then you're trying to shoot your first long range shot, and then you make your you have a really funny story about that first shot.
No, that was in Ireland.
Was it?
Yeah, that was a Creedmoor. Yeah, I shot that. Oh wow. How the wind was going out there.
Yeah,
wind was going crazy out there. It was 2011, I guess.
11. I was there with you.
Oh, that was great. Yeah, what a time we had, me, you, and Nick.
Oh, man, it was amazing. It was amazing. So anyway, so you're in England.
Okay. I'm
jumping around.
I got to tell you about that. I got to tell you about the Creedmoor one. Okay.
So we're in England, and you were in England. I wasn't. I was just getting into. I had just gotten into F class because I had just met Mike Downey, and then I had just met this guy, right? And Mark Farr was the one that's kind of helping me. And then I was really taken into this F class thing, and I kept asking questions. And Mark Farr goes, "You need to call Mike Downey. He's the one you want to talk to." And I'm like, "I don't even know the guy." He goes, "Just call him. He'll." And I did, and he did. I remember we had lunch together, and I mean the guy was just amazing. But anyway, I didn't know he was on the U.S. rifle team. He's the type of guy that he won't say anything, right? You just kind of he
Right.
just goes and makes everybody hurt,
Competitive.
and then he walks away. Uh,
Yeah, he's a competitive guy,
but
man, for sure.
that then I found out he went to the World Championship. But so anyway, I'm just now getting into the game at this point. About 2008 is when I got in. So anyway, so you guys are in England shooting the Rutland Cup, and you guys end up winning that,
Yeah,
right?
we also shot the international team. I shot on the international team, which was really, uh, what was fun about that international match. That was for the Imperials, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what Bach said was, we're going to take the top 4 shooters up to the point when they had the international match. Um, who's ever the top 4, those will be the 4 that get to represent the United States. The person in 5th will be the captain,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's how that worked out. So, long story short, I was like 3rd, so I got to shoot on that international match, which was I was kind of proud of that because it was all based off performance, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and so the shooters on that international team was Trailer, um, Jim Murphy, um, myself, and Shiraz,
Mm-hmm.
and we all shot. We were the 4, and we won the gold on that too, and that was a lot of fun. Great experience again, and Jeff Cochran was the captain, so he played the back row with all the headgear and stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
we worked all well together, and I shot anchor. I was the last guy, and it all worked out. We did the whole ball of wax, and it was a great memory for sure. And then we went on and we shot after that, then we shot the Rutland Cup, and then we won the gold on that. So, I always tell Downey, I said, hey, when we went to England, we walked out of there with, our group, me and Mike, we walked out with 5 gold medals. That's what
Yeah.
we had.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we worked out pretty well. I mean, it was, I was very blessed, very lucky, and
Yeah. So
fortunate.
you said in about 6 years, right? '03 was your first match.
I started in '03, and I think I shot my last match because of all my health issues, which you're well aware of, was in '18. And I was lucky I even got through that.
So
But,
15 years.
yeah, I did 15 years of it, and even at this point, rather than sell my stuff, I decided that I was going to give it to somebody who would use it and appreciate the history behind my barrels and my gun,
Mm-hmm.
and give it to somebody who would use it for what it was designed for. And I have a nephew, his name's Kevin Shepard. He's 35.
Mm-hmm.
The kid can shoot, and I've seen him shoot a long time ago when I first started shooting. So I just came back from Montana a month ago, and I brought him up a rifle with 4 barrels, and I'm leaving actually tomorrow or Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I'm giving him that, the gun I shot in England and all that stuff.
Wow.
That one rifle I have, I broke the record with, and all that stuff. I'm giving him that plus 7 barrels.
Wow.
I'm giving him everything I have. It's all 6.5 related. They're all brand new and rest bagged. I mean, chronograph, bullets, brass, primer. I mean, everything. He's getting it all, and I think he's going to do really well. I took him out a month ago, and he shot. We spent 2 days. Shooting at the range up there in Montana, and I had this gun. I call it my fun gun. It's a really nice gun. It's got a Millen A5 stock on it, and I took my 28. I had all 28-inch barrels. I cut them to 22 after they wouldn't shoot, and rechambered them and put them on that Remington Action on that A5 with a Night Force 8x32 and 56, and it shoots. And so I loaded up. I had 300 rounds. I brought a box of 100, and we spent the 2 days out there at the range. And I just kind of showed him how to shoot the sequence, because I had a sequence I would go through. I don't like to engage around, not unless I'm going to send it down range. I don't like to put it in there. So I'd always just, after I shot a round, I'd open up that action, put a round in there, and just get it started. But then I go to my spotting scope, and if I knew the condition was what I wanted to shoot in, then I would engage it. Because if it got to where I wasn't going to shoot it, I was already looking at the wind, right? So I would never engage that round. I just let it sit there. But I knew that when the target was down, I'm looking, and if I'm flags or whatever, if that condition is what I want, that round is going in the chamber. I'm locking it down there. And as soon as that target coming up, I'm off the spotting scope. I'm on the target coming up, and I'm pulling it. And as soon as that round goes, out comes the brass. A new one comes in. I push it in about 50%, and I'm on this. Then I'll get down on the scope again. And if the condition's holding, at that point, if it's holding, you're playing the chase the spotter bit. You're just getting it, wherever you're at.
Yeah.
But if it gets out of control, then you're going to stop. And I've had before where I put them in and take them out, and I didn't like doing that. So I kind of changed that process. But I had a system, and also you had to, move that gun up on that rest. After you discharged the round and you put the new round in and you put it up there, I'd always slide the gun back up so it met the stop up in front. So that was all part of it. Well, we were doing FTR over there in Montana. So I was trying to teach him that same process with the bipod, so I had to make sure you move it forward. You had to, open the action, put the new one in, get the gun forward, all that stuff, and get on the spotting scope. So we went through the cycle for a full day. And then the second day, we were shooting 5-shot groups, what we were shooting, right? We started off at 100, went to 200, went to 300. And after we shot the remaining parts at 300, the next day we went back there and I said, Kevin, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to treat you like you're shooting a match. So he gets a feel for what it's like, because he had no idea what to expect. So, I go going for record, blah, 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 blah. And he's all set, and, 1 on, 2 on, 3 on, all that kind of stuff. And he had no one pulling targets. I have these targets that I created, targets created, and they're basically a 300-yard target X-ring. So that's what I have it set out there. And he shot, believe this or not, I told him it was amazing. He shot a 216, and he's never shot a match.
Wow.
The kid can shoot. He just doesn't have like the equipment to go out there and do it. He works so hard all the time because he's in Montana. He works in this lumberyard thing, that he's always constantly working. I said, you got the skill. You just need to get out there and do it. And he's just gonna have to find time to do it. But I can't think of anybody else I'd rather see my equipment go to than him.
Yeah, well, that's good, man. That's good. Good.
Yeah,
stuff.
but I still kept one. I got, the one I sent you, that FTR one I got. That's my 7mm. That's that RSOM. And I have 2 stocks F open, so I can still do the F open. I still have all the powder, all the brass, all the stuff, and primers, all the stuff, so I can still shoot. I fiddle with it, because I really enjoy it, but I know I can't.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you tore it up, man. You tore it up for a long time.
It hurt.
What else can you say, man? You tore the hell up. And then we went to Ireland.
Well, I showed up anyways. I showed up. I was there. I never ran away from it. That's for sure. But
I didn't know you. I mean, I kind of knew of you, but I didn't know you. And
right.
Remember Brian Odie? He's the one that's like,
oh yeah,
let's go, man. And I'll tell you my F-class story my U.S. F-class story at some point, how I joined the team. But it was pretty much Mike Downey going, "You're joining the team," and oh man, I'm not good enough. He goes, "Yes, you are. You joining the team," and he says, "Let me call you back," and then he called me back and he says, "Tryouts are this day. You better be there." That's literally Mike.
He told me about you. Yeah, he had told me about you. He told me, he said, Eric can shoot and all this stuff, and he can be on the U.S. team and all that. That's great, man. Just get him over here.
So then, we're in Ireland, right? And I end up at this bed and breakfast. Bob Mead had to go get me from the airport because I was stuck at the airport. I mean, and Bob Mead goes and gets me, right? And I go to this bed and breakfast with the TR team is, right? Like, I didn't know. I was kind of late to the game, right? And I don't know anybody, right? This is where I'm meeting everybody, right? And I get to this bed and breakfast, and the entire TR team is there. No F open shooters. I don't know anybody. I mean, I know some people, right? But Nagel was there. Don Nagel was there. And then everybody's talking about, like, well, tomorrow we're going to load these vans and blah, 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 because they had rented these vans, right? And Nagel goes, "You can come with me and Tate." And remember, he had this little Focus or whatever little car we had.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, "No, you can just ride with us." And we got in that little car, and he goes, "We gotta go get Tate," and we went to go get you, and then it was like the most fun days ever for the next
We had a
10 days.
blast.
You, me, and Don Nagel piled into this little car.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what an amazing time!
And we
What
drove
an
everywhere.
amazing
If it wasn't for
But
Don, we would never saw the stuff we saw.
I know.
I remember he
Don's
took
like,
off that side
"Let's
road.
go over here."
He'd go down that dirt road and just took off. I go, where the hell is he going to go? And then everything's backwards anyways,
And
right?
then- Yeah, and
Yeah.
then I remember that when we got to the hotel, you're like, I get out, right? 'Cause I was in the front. Let you get in. Like, no, you get in the front. And then you guys hand me a map, and they're like, you're the co-pilot. I'm in freaking Ireland. I have no idea where I'm. So back there in the back, and Don
Yeah.
Nagel's driving, and I'm trying to make sense of this map that we have. Oh, the shit was upside down. It was amazing.
It was so
And,
much fun.
oh, it was a good time. It was a damn good time.
Yeah. That whole
Oh, it was such a good time.
yeah, I was going to tell you that shot. Well, you remember how the wind was blowing, right? And it was. I remember I got on the line, and as a matter of fact, going back, the very first shot that I ever took there was during our practice. We got it on the line. I set my gun on the ground, and Murphy, they had to try to have all our guns synced and stuff. And so Murphy had Murphy had just got done shooting, and Bob says, "Okay, get on the line." So I get on the line, and give me like 2.5 left on your gun or whatever the hell it was at the time, and I put it on there. Shot an X, first shot out of the thing. I thought, man. Now for my very first shot at that new range in England or in Ireland was an X. You nailed that thing. I was like, man, that's pretty cool. Wow. I was kind of proud of that. My very first shot there at England or Ireland was an X. Well, we go and shoot the match. We're doing all that stuff, and we're whatever match that we're shooting, and on whatever day, and the wind is like. I went down and took that wind gauge thing I had, and I stuck it up by the flat. Took a picture. It's in that book. Yeah. It was a 20-mile-an-hour wind. The wind was just blowing, but it was. So then I walked back. When it was my turn to shoot, and I get on the ground, and the flags are, they're, doing that. They're trying to find a way out. They want to get the hell out of there. And so but when I looked down the line, it wasn't just like at the 800-yard line or the 6. It was all the way down. I mean, every flag looked like it wanted off the pole. And I thought, God, so I looked at my chart. I had a chart with all this wind stuff on it. And I remember I put 9 3/4 minutes left on that gun. That's what I dialed on. I never forgot that. I almost spun it. I got on the ground, my very first shot, cold bar, bingo, and I shot an X. Now I would like to say it was a pinwheel. I can't remember because all I remember when it came up, it was the V. They had V's there. Yeah. It came up a V, and I remember thinking, like, Jesus Christ, did you just see what just happened here? I was trying to look for that guy. I was looking for the guy that had that microphone. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, come over here, give me that thing. Then I want to go, hey man, ceasefire. A ceasefire. Let's get a ceasefire. I want everyone to take your spotting scopes and swing to target 36. Swing to target 36. Swing to target. Yeah, I was like, can you just take a look at that? That's a V, brother. Yeah, I want to call a ceasefire on that, And I know the guys in the pit. Hey, I know the guys in the pit had to say, because everyone knows the wind was going just, you know how bad it was. I mean, 9 3/4, I shot a V, cold bore. And I know the guy pulled the target down. He had to say, he just shot a V. You know what I mean?
That's impressive. It is impressive.
Oh, man, I never forgot that. I'm yelling ceasefire. People are telling me, shut up. Oh, Jesus Christ. That was probably the greatest shot I've ever made in that condition. I almost wanted to bronze the gun and everything and just go home. Say, that's it. I quit, man.
Oh man! So we had a great time, that's for sure. Oh my god! Remember we used to go to all these pubs and then just drink a beer, and
Oh,
then
remember they had an autograph and we signed him?
well,
Remember we signed that thing?
Me and Nagel would convince everybody. Nagel started it, and then of course I had to be a good wingman and
Yeah.
remember he kept saying that you were the famous American shooter, and then
Oh, yeah, that
we
guy.
convinced all these local people that you were
Yeah.
just this amazing American shooter, and they come
Well,
out and
famous,
ask you
that
for
guy.
autographs, and you're gonna
Okay.
see them on TV in a couple of days. You're gonna regret it, and
Yeah. You remember we got off that bus? Remember they brought us to the bus?
yeah.
Okay, they brought us to the bus. This is where this whole thing started from, the world famous shoot. We get off the bus and I'm walking down the beach line there, and this guy comes up to me and he points and he says, "Hey," he goes, "you're that world famous shooter." And I said, I'm looking like, what? I'm looking around like, what are you kidding? He says, "I know who you are. I see your name tag. You're that world famous shooter." I said, this is what I told him. I said, "Sir, you must got me mistaken for somebody else, because I said, you obviously didn't see me shoot the Southwest Nationals." Because I said, I sprayed him over there. That's what I told him. I mean, that was the first time they announced over the Southwest Nationals. They said, "Hey, the guy on 25, get that 410 off the line." You know. So, but he says, "No, I seen your." He says, "I seen your name tag. I know who you are." And I said, "Whatever." So then he takes me over to that lady who was that relative of that famous
Yeah, the
shooter.
guy that
from,
shot it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I remember his name, but anyway, she says, "Yeah, this is his relative, his great granddaughter, or whatever, and she wants a picture with you." So then, then just with world famous shooter, and then that's where it all started. Next thing I know, I'm getting all these pictures taken. And then remember when we were in City Hall? Remember we were in City Hall? Well, that same guy, after that pro tem mayor guy was giving his speech and everything,
Mm-hmm.
I'm standing by Murphy in the back. I'm trying to get, I'm trying in the background.
Trying
That
to-
same guy sees me. Yeah, I'm trying to say in the background, just, because you got all these other, big famous guys around and all that stuff. And I'm just a shooter, I'm just, little guy from California, and, who legally has a gun according to our rules around here. But at any rate, I'm over there hanging out by Murphy, and that guy standing by that pro tem guy, mayor, of Ireland, and he says, "She's pointing right at me," and I looking over my shoulder like, "Is there someone behind me?" And I go, "Me?" And he goes, "Yeah, you, come here." And I go, "Okay." So I, you're kind of representing the country, right? So I go over there and I'm gonna be a nice guy. I go, "Yeah, what can I do for you?" He says, "I want to get a picture with you and with the mayor guy." That's how that whole thing happened. I didn't ask for it. I was trying to stay away from everything. That gentleman just wanted that picture with me and that mayor, and the next thing I know, they stuck me over there, and then the mayor guy says, "Get this other guy involved." So then there's three of us, and then you saw all the shots that went off, and it was like walking the red carpet. And I'm thinking, that guy, and it was very nice of him and everything, but I was thinking, there's a lot bigger names around here than me. I can guarantee you that. In this film. That's how that all happened. But that was what a fun trip, and they treated us like gold out there, didn't they?
Oh my God! Amazing. I want to go back to Ireland. It was such a great. Just oh man, everything about it. The people, just amazing.
Yeah. Again, I'm gonna tell you something about England. Eric, go. Make it happen.
Yeah.
You talk about it. You talk about cheering. We don't come close. When they chair a shooter over there, they got the band. They put the guy up. The band marches, and they take him to every one of the houses, and they get him wiped out. He's just drinking at every one of them, and they fire a cannon. They fire a cannon off like every hour on the hour.
So
it's
they
a
put
big
them
deal.
on a chair, right? And they carry them. Put them on a chair and carry them.
Google it. Google the video. You'll see what I mean. It's nothing like. I'm not taking anything away from Spirit of America, but when you see what they do over there, I mean, it's just wow, and very impressive. I mean, I'm so glad I got to experience that, because that's what a range,
Yeah,
Just
I
fast.
interviewed Gary Costello about a couple days ago,
Yeah.
who won the world championship in 2009, and he.
Oh, I know
he
Gary.
told
Yeah,
me
I'm talking about. Yeah. Yeah, he was there.
told me his
Yeah,
whole
no,
side of
never,
the
right?
story. Well, yeah, that's how he won.
No. But I mean, I remember. Yeah, I remember seeing him talking to him.
Okay.
So yeah,
But
I was thinking
he
USA. I was thinking USA.
no 2000 world champion. I interviewed him a couple days ago, and he told me pretty much his side of the story of being in there because he won the whole thing, right? And
Yeah, what did he say?
it's impressive. I'm not gonna tell you, Tate. You're gonna have to watch the interview.
Oh, you got a secret?
No, it's
You know,
it's just,
Gary, Gary better than I do.
But just the same thing like you and I are doing. His side of the story of how the match went for him. You know what I mean, from his point of view, which is obviously different. But yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. All the history. I definitely go to and shoot there, Bisley, for
I
sure.
hope you do.
It's
won't
on the
regret
bucket list for sure. We've been great friends ever since. It's you've been an
Sure.
amazing friend. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, and I've been a pretty good friend. And you know how I know because I let you beat me a few times just to kind of boost your ego. You know?
Oh, shit. Okay.
Okay.
Hey, no offense, but I'm gonna put this one on the just so it's out there. You know, when I got diagnosed with cancer in 2016, 2000, it was December 2008, 2016. My kidney shut down completely, right? So I had no kidney function. They put me in the dialysis for 4 months, and they figured out after doing all that dialysis and stuff, it took them a while to figure out what was actually going on with me, and I should have died back then. But at any rate, I got off the dialysis. They found out I had this really rare bone marrow cancer, and 3 out of a million have it. It's really rare. But at any rate, I had to take 2017 off because I did all that time to rehab. 2018, I tried to go shoot that match over at Southwest, and I couldn't shoot. I had to quit because I just didn't have the energy. And so I quit, moving I couldn't do the Palma. That was out, And I knew when I shot the 600 earlier, I was in big trouble. And I said, that's when I knew there's no way I could shoot the Palma. I couldn't handle, I didn't have people don't understand it, but you just lose all your energy and your strength. And it also affects my nervous system, which I found out later, after I got diagnosed. It affects my nervous system and my vision. So I'd have twitches, and my legs would twitch, my hands would twitch. And that's where I found out where that came from. I didn't realize it until later, but I could feel it coming. So I would never pull the trigger. And it actually started way back when we were in Ireland. When we were in Ireland, I had those issues, but I would try not to pull the trigger because I could feel it coming. And 2017, I'm off. 2018, I can't shoot. I go to Southwest. I can't shoot the 6, so I pull out of that. I said I'm not going to shoot the the Palma, because I figured I'll just shoot the 1,000-yard because it's one line. And I struggled to get through that thing, but for whatever reason, I won it. And I have,
Amazing! You won this mid range. You won the championship, right?
Well, no, I won the mid range.
You won the mid range. Yeah, you won the mid range.
2016.
Okay,
that was 2016.
Okay.
Yeah, that was 2016. I cleaned it.
Oh, that's right. You didn't shoot the Palma, but you shot the long range in 2018, right?
I shot 2016 and I cleaned it. And by the way, the only clean. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Okay, so at any rate, yeah. Just for the record, I think I was a
ceasefire. Ceasefire.
Yeah, ceasefire. So then I get diagnosed with cancer after that match in December. Mm-hmm. So that I missed 2017. I come back in 2018 and I tried to shoot this 600, but I struggled. I got out of there. So I knew the Palma was out. So I just stayed in my trailer, and then I came back and shot the 1,000, and I ended up winning the 1,000. And that's when I decided.
You beat us all. You spanked us
all.
The
whole thing is I had one foot in the grave and one on the line, in all honesty, because I couldn't, I was surprised I even got through that match.
And it was so
hard.
You beat everybody.
But it took the fun out of it, Eric, to be honest. It was it was more of a conquest. It wasn't fun. It was just me getting pissed off.
Yeah, but you spanked us all.
That
So
hurt. But at any rate, great memories, and
yeah, I
I wouldn't
mean,
trade it for anything. You know.
so after 2011, because you know how it is, right? You kind of get that burnout a little bit, right? You go to all these
Oh,
matches, you go to these big matches, and just so
especially the
much.
worlds.
It's so hard and then so then what you and I came up with, jokingly or whatever, just you and I would always shoot against each other, right? We came
Oh,
up
sure.
with that, just
Yeah,
shoot
yeah.
against each
Well,
other.
that was your idea. You had to. Yeah, you got some BS going on in your stuff. You go. It's 1,000-yard match, and I beat you at 1,000. What's the aggregate? I go. What are you talking about? You can't. What are you? I feel like we're playing 8-ball.
I know what you're talking about.
You're like we're playing 8-ball. You're picking and choosing whatever you're ahead at.
No,
And
you're
then
talking about
No, here's the other one. Then I'm at home. I get this thing in the mail. Comes for you. This was after the 2016
what was it?
or whatever the hell it was.
I
Some
beat
match. You
you
sent
by.
me.
I beat you
Well,
by
no,
one
no.
X.
I'm a. Yeah, I got the
Go
shirt.
ahead.
I got to hang it in
tell
my
the story.
closet.
Tell the story.
I
Tell the
made a
story.
picture of that thing. It was cracking me up. He sends me that thing, and I look at it. And it says we tied scores on the ag, but you had beat me by 1X. So you sent me an X and said you need this one, something like that. I kept it. I
took
still
a
got it.
target. So always competing against each other, and I beat him. We tied down to the points, but I beat him by 1X on the aggregate. I mean, literally, we're just tied, and I got him by 1X. So I come home. I take an F class target. I cut out the X. I sign it, and I put on there. I say here's the X that you needed to beat me, or something like that. And I mailed it.
Yeah, with the score sheet. With the score sheet. And I said,
circled, highlighted.
Yeah, with the score sheet. Yeah, and you highlighted it. And I had to laugh because I said, what are you talking about? I said, this is what I told you. I said, you know what? You better get on the phone and get hold of Michelle and see if she can get that thing pulled off the internet. Because if you look at it, I've got like, third, first, second, third match winner. You've got like fifth, fourth, and that's it. But you beat me we tied on the ag. But
aggregate.
I said,
I beat you by 1X on the ag.
Well, I beat you by 1X you can have the ag. Well, it's kind of like the 1,000-yard. We shoot the 1,000-yard match. We shoot the 1,000-yard match because we want the long distance. But then you go, hey, you know what? Let's throw in the Palma. Well, the Palma's a tune-up for the 1,000. I mean, you can have the Palma. The Palma is like just a warm-up to get you ready for the 1,000, man. Who are you kidding? I was like, what?
Oh my god!
I'd rather win I want to win the 1,000 because that's where it's all at. But here's one more thing. John Brewer told me this. He told me this, and I got to tell you this John Brewer story. We can't go just yet. You got to hear this.
Yeah, no, hammer down. Man.
Okay. Brewer tells me, God rest his soul, a great guy. He says to me, "Let me tell you something, Tate." He said, "This is regarding Palma." He says, 8 and 9 is foreplay. It all comes down to 1,000." And he's right.
Yeah,
it is. And this is during the tryouts. Now this is 2008, 2000. Yeah, it must have been 2008. It was the 2008 Nationals, and that was in Lodi. Brewer's up on the line, and he decides he's going to change his scope out. No, that's what that's what you can ask Dean Morris this, because me and Dean Morris held the gun down we held this gun down. He says, hey, come over here, Morris, come over here, hold this gun. He unscrews it. And me and Morris look at each other like, this is it. Brewer finally, no, you're talking, I'm looking like Brewer finally lost it, man. It's over, He takes the scope off, puts another one on, screws it, and he says, it'll be okay. I remember he loosened the scope. He maybe readjusted it. Maybe that's what he did. He must have readjusted it. I just say take it off. He unscrewed it because I remember me and Morris looked at each other. I said, he's lost it. Like it's over. We're gonna have to fill another spot. And he twisted it down. I swear to you, he twisted it down and he got on the ground and he shot it. I was like, did you just see what we just saw? and one more thing he did, he said, "I ought to be fine." He goes, "I'll be fine." That's what he told me. Don't worry about it. I'm okay. I'm shooting like in Wisconsin. I'm shooting like 4 or 3, and he's shooting on 4, right? And we get down on the ground, and John shoots, and my target goes down. Right? We're in ciders, so he's going off on it, man. He's banging this thing away, and I'm letting him do it. I just sat there like this, and because I had 30 minutes, right? So I just kind of sat like that. I let him put about 5-6 rounds on that target.
On your target. So he's crossfire.
Yeah, my target. Yeah, their target's coming down, going a lot of action going on there. He's got an 8. Boom, he's back. He's 10. He's centered up. He's starting to get things are starting to go good. And I said, "Hey, John," and he's like, "What?" He looks over at me. I said, "You want to shoot your own target?" He's so funny. Oh, he just, such a nice guy anyways, but he pulverized my target, but it was just funny because he was, he just got so locked down on one target left that he just never got off it, and I let him get it.
When I was in Ireland, 2011, we were in Ireland, I got paired up with John Brewer. And I'd never met him before. Like, I knew who he was, but I've never met him, right? But now I'm just the newest member of the U.S. rifle team. And like you said, it's like now all of a sudden all these, like everywhere I look, it's all these freaking magnificent shooters that I've been reading about, right? And all of a sudden they're everywhere. There's a room like, hey, we're going to dinner. And I'm sitting there at the table just full of freaking all these celebrities and just these high caliber shooters, right? So I get paired up with John Brewer. And we go to the pits first, and 2 people pull the targets, and the shot comes through, and he literally puts his hand over the target, and he looks for the hole like Braille, just looks for because he can't see. Yeah. And I'm thinking, of course, I'm like, no, I'll do it, right? So I took over and I started pacing the targets, but honestly, I'm thinking, oh my God, what's gonna happen when he has to shoot? You know what I mean? Seriously, I don't know. I just know who he is. I know he's an amazing shooter, but I'm seeing him that he's literally feeling for the shot. Can't see, right? And I'm worried. I'm like, what's gonna happen when we go back to the line, right? Long story short, we go back to the line, right? And we shoot. He shot like 15 X's at 800, like just never left the center. Like just my jaws it's on the ground. At 900 yards, I remember at 900 yards, they brought him the spotter. Because at 900 yards, with 15 shots, he hit the 3-inch spotter 13 times.
Isn't that great?
It was amazing. He's such an amazing shooter. About, I'm just literally there with my jaw on the ground because like I said, I'm amazing.
Yeah, there's a lot of talent out there. All those guys are amazing. This is true too. We're in England. Mike Downey. I tell Mike, this is before we shot the Rutland when we were just shooting the matches. I had a lot of eye problems and. No one really knew this, but I couldn't see. And I told Mike, Mike, I can't see the targets. And he said, are you kidding me? And I said, no, I can't. But I said, you can't tell anybody because they won't let me shoot. But when I get on the ground, and I can dial up my focus, I can see it. I just can't see when I stand there, everything's blurry. All the subjects, at that distance, in England, there's the targets, and then they have the scorers things. The target numbers are above, and then I think it's like every 10 targets, there's a bigger marker. So they're in groups of 10, right? So Mike would. This is how you can verify this with Mike. Mike would drive me up to where I had to shoot and drop me off, and he'd get out of the cart and he'd say, "Okay, Tate, you're the 3rd big marker, second one over." Right? So I would look at that big marker and I'd set my shit down and I'd look at that, get it all dialed in, set up. And then once I focused, I was good to go. Yeah. But until then, I said, don't you tell anybody, because if you tell them, they're going to say, we don't want him on the line, Yeah. And what happened was I came back and we ended up winning. Right, I shot really good on the Imperials that won the gold, and all that stuff. It all worked out well, but I just had to get situated. We got back to the States. I went to North Carolina, Butner. That's when they had the nationals after he got back. And the gentleman that runs the match over there, and his wife, the guy that runs the match at Lodi.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
you know
Earl?
what I'm talking about?
Earl?
Yes, his wife.
Mm-hmm.
She was shooting next to me. In my eyes, I was looking at we just gotten back from England shooting the nationals, and I saw this big red like ball of fire roll across the line like it's 700 yards. And I thought, holy shit, what's going on with my sight? So I remember I got off the line. I told her, I said, hey, did you see that big ball of fire go across the, because my vision was, and she said, she looked at me like it's half nuts. She said, no. And I thought, this is it, man. Well, I went back in November. I had my eyes fixed. I had implants put in that year, and I had them put close vision. I couldn't see before I got the surgery. I couldn't see the big E. That's the truth. I sat down and he did my eye. He said I couldn't see the big E. So they took they gave me an implant on my right eye, which was for close, because I wanted it for close because I knew that I could do my notes. Mm-hmm. And I knew when I got on the scope, I could dial for distance. I had my left eye for distance, so I could look at the flags. And if I had to use some spotting scope, I could adjust I did it all for shooting, right? So I had my visions like this. And so after I got those implants in, it was almost like cheating. I mean, I've never seen color so good. I've never seen, I thought, holy crap, look, I can see great. You don't realize how bad your vision is until you put glasses on, right?
Right.
You know, when your vision's going. Well, I didn't realize that. I got those implants, and I said, this is fabulous, and then I got hit with another truckload of stuff. But at any rate, that's kind of how that all worked out. I was surprised I got through England like that. Mike was good about it. Mike never said nothing, and I said, I can't believe that. But I was okay once I got on the ground and got situated, but I couldn't see. I couldn't see. It's crazy, man.
Man, Tate, this has been amazing, man.
What a run.
This has been amazing.
Hey, I'm glad I got this chance to speak with you, Eric. I hadn't seen you. Last time I saw you when you came down here, we went to Catalina. That was fun.
Oh, yeah, that was fun, man. That was a good trip. It was a real fun trip.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But I wish you and your family nothing but the best, obviously. And I'll see you at Southwest. I'm gonna come up there. I'm not gonna compete. I couldn't get in anyways. How do you get into those matches anymore? How do you get into that? I got to tell you, you can't go just yet because I got a couple of things I got to say. Because, this is what I always want to do. I always want to shoot against the best guys out there, right? I want to see these guys. I want to meet them because they're all great people, right? Mm-hmm. And so you want to shoot with them. You want to meet them and you pick their brain and let them help you out. And maybe there's something you can get from it, or whatever, or watch how they do things. Mm-hmm. And the way that system's set up, some of these guys, they can't make it. You can't get in because you can't type fast enough, or the thing is just, they got 8 people doing it all at once for them. And then until, however they work it out, they bombard it or whatever. I don't have that kind of stuff. And I just feel sorry for the ones that, those guys should be there because they're part of the history of the game. And the other people, they're role models, and they motivate the other younger ones.
And now they're home because their internet's slow, because they have slow internet.
Well, it's just And the other thing is that thing that you're doing, that V competition thing.
Yeah, V2.
That I think that's great. I really think that's a good thing you got going on. And in England, when you shoot the Imperial matches, they put 3 on a mound with that same thing of 45 seconds. So you take one shot, you don't shoot again for a minute and a half, up to a minute and a half.
Wow.
So, you got to be on your game. And so doing what you're doing helps those guys get ready, because chasing the spotter kind of goes out the door when you got to wait a minute and a half.
Yeah.
So, and even in your instance, you got 45 seconds. So, but you still need to read the wind. So I think that to improve, this is my own personal opinion, like at the Nationals, Southwest Nationals and so forth. I think it'd be great if they took like the last day and had pair firing and let you do that, because you can chase the spotter that first day if it's there, and if conditions, you can pull up and shoot and do, not chase the entire match, because you can't do that and expect to win. Just chase the spotter 24/7. That ain't gonna fly. You're gonna shoot decent scores, but you're not gonna win, because everyone will be doing that, right?
Right.
So you need to have, in that second day, if you're doing pair firing, it's going to force you to learn how to read the wind. And it's also going to give the guys a chance that do know how to win, catch up for the guys that maybe had a bad string because, they got a good one and you didn't get a good one. But now you got pair firing to help balance out the
whole thing.
Yeah. And in the same respect, you're helping out all the shooters to learn how to be forced to read their wind. And for those that do go to England and do shoot in the Imperials on the U.S. team that do go, they're going to be better at it.
Yeah, so once you leave the U.S., it's pretty much pair fire.
Yeah, I just think it's a good thing. And I love that. That's the way it was over there. And I had my own little system how I shot that pair firing, and it worked for me. And that's one reason why I think I did okay out there, because I never chased a spotter out there. What I would do is I would shoot my shot, and wherever I hit at, I would leave my scope set to where I aimed, but I would put a mark on my sheet where it went.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, you would plot.
So I knew where the impact. I was basically plotting it kind of, but I let my scope stay where my point of aim was, and I put a mark on my sheet that I had. I made up a sheet with the rings in it where it hit, and I left that there so that I could score when I had to score. But I also, when I did that, I took a look at the wind, right? So I knew what wind I had when I shot in. So then I would let the other guy shoot, and then I would, score him or whatever. Then I had a break, and then it'd be my turn to shoot. And when it had to be my turn to shoot, then I would look at where I knew where my gun was at. I just had to look at my sheet to see where my impact was, so I could make that a movement. I could make that adjustment to chase a spotter, and then I would dictate it based off the wind. Did it go up or down?
Right. Yep.
Then I would make that little adjustment, and I'd take my shot at it. And it never really failed me. I mean, I'd have to be really off on the wind call, but I could keep track. I didn't have to have a big long list of stuff. It was shot to shot to shot, but my shot was marked on my scope. I never moved it, and it was on paper. Then I would make my chase the spotter move, center it up, and go, do I have more wind or less wind? And then I'd make a call.
Yeah.
And that's how I shot that Imperials, and it worked. I think I came in 12th overall in the ag in the 14. I shot really well on that thing. I was proud of how that went. And that pair firing that's how I would do pair firing. If I was to shoot in your match, that's what I would do. And I wished I could shoot in it. My vision's bad. My nervous system's a mess. It just stinks. But you know what?
Be honest, man, you had a hell of a run. You're still going, man. Don't worry about it. You're still going.
I'm here. Let me tell you something. I'm very satisfied and blessed, and I wouldn't change a thing. I mean, if I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't change a thing. I'll still take the cancer. I'll still take all of it, because I'd rather have it than have my kids have it. Yeah. Pardon me. All right, Grant.
I understand, man. I understand.
That would crush me. That would crush me. But me having it, shit, that's nothing. It's gonna have to dig deeper than that to get me, brother.
I know it, man. I know it. Tater, man, I appreciate it. You've been an incredible friend, and still are. Every now and then I fly over to Huntington Beach and just drop by, and you're like, "What the hell are you doing here?" I'm like, "Good to see you."
Well, it's funny. When you came out that one time, we went to Catalina's. I told Downey, because Downey came out once and stayed with me, and we went surfing, right? Mm-hmm. So I told him next time he comes out, we'll go to Catalina, because I can't leave him hanging. Take a look.
And you bought that expensive water. Remember that?
Jesus! Oh my God! What the hell is that about? I got bad kidneys, so I can't do all this other stuff.
We got a bottle of water, literally a bottle of water, and they bring it out and they're showing it to him like this, like if it's wine. It's like $8 water. It was just a bottle of water.
Yeah. This water's so good, I don't even got to put ice in it. You know what I'm saying? We don't even put ice in it.
I got so mad. Oh man, it was amazing. Tate, thank you, man. I appreciate you doing this. Have a safe trip. And maybe we'll do this again when you get back, man. I know you got a ton of stories. So.
Oh my goodness, what memory lane! But at any rate, I'll see you at Southwest in 22. Hey, one more thing.
We're probably
Are they
gonna do
gonna
this again.
Are they doing the Worlds or what?
They pushed it back one more time.
What's that?
So now we're
20.
the world. So now we're looking like 23.
Oh, 23, but it's South Africa still.
Yeah, as far as of right now, it is. So
Yeah, okay.
we're just waiting.
Well, I'll see you. Okay, either way, I'll see you in Phoenix. I'm
Well,
gonna come
we're
up
gonna
and
have
bring
to do
my
this
camera.
again. We're gonna have
I'm
to
gonna
do
bring
this
my
again.
camera, take pictures of you guys. You know what I mean? I'll
Yeah.
take some photographs and all that kind of stuff, and visit. I miss it, but it's what it is. And but it doesn't mean you guys can't. I enjoy watching you guys do it. Yeah.
Yeah,
What a
it's fun, man.
life.
It's fun.
I wouldn't say it. All
Thank
right.
you, Tate.
Good luck to you, Eric.
Take care, man.
Family.
All right,
brother.
bye. Oh wait, I didn't record any of this. Hey, you mind doing it all
Okay.
over again? I didn't record.
I'm not very good at that.
See you, man.
Wouldn't that be
Take
something
care.
if you did that? Bye.
Bye.
How do I shut this up? I don't even know how to shut it off.
I'll do it.
How do you-
Bye.
And